Well, Cowboys fans, have no fear. Our actual free agency is here, and it comes by way of the Dallas Cowboys pilfering some of the best offerings from the Spring Football League, aka the UFL. Today, we have two more players that the Cowboys are either bringing in or taking a look at that I want to introduce to you guys, showing you guys some of their highlights, talking about some of their weaknesses, some of their strengths, looking at their draft profiles. And then I'm actually going to show you something that's quite shocking and could make those fans out there that aren't really high on these UFL players have a change of heart. Without further ado, let's get into it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as we're on the road to 20K. Check out my links in the description to support the channel by way of buying some merchandise or following me on IG. But let's get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the newest piece of news coming out of Dallas Cowboys land, and that's the fact that defensive end Jonathan Garvin, part of the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL, is coming in to work out for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, for those guys who don't know who Jonathan Garvin is, he actually played for the Green Bay Packers for about 3 seasons, getting his most run in his second season in the league, in which he tallied 1.5 sacks in 16 games played. Now, he has never been a starter on the NFL level, and even in his NFL draft combine profile, he was projected to be an average backup or special teamer. I can tell you right now, this guy right here is either going to be a special teams guy or this could be your potential replacement for a guy like a Dante Fowler Jr., right? This is that level of a pickup, even though Dante Fowler is obviously someone that had more success on the NFL level. I'm willing to bet the Cowboys are hoping that this guy can come in and be a situational, rotational pass rusher or a special teams ace, because I feel like special teams is going to be a lot more important for this upcoming season in the NFL, as they are doing the trial run, the 1-year trial run of the XFL kickoff, right? So special teams is going to take a lot more priority as it pertains to roster building, because obviously with the way the special teams is going to be designed, specifically the kickoff, you're going to need more bodies to be able to throw out there, because you do not want guys that you want contributing on offense or defense having to run out there on kickoff and actually play football for the first time in years, right? So I would look at a Jonathan Garvin as someone that's either going to be a rotational piece, just coming in the pass rush, because that's pretty much how he was used in the UFL. I actually went back and watched some of the Birmingham Stallions games, the extended highlights on YouTube. You can find it on the UFL YouTube channel. They have the extended highlights. They're about 15 minutes long. I can't really find real game tape for these UFL games. They may not even be out there, but watching the extended highlights and seeing Jonathan Garvin and how he was used, even in the UFL, he was used situationally. He would come down on third downs or in obvious pass rushing situations. Never actually saw him drop back into a coverage or anything like that. He seems to be strictly a pass rushing style edge. And he has one move in his bag that I saw over and over and over again. That's essentially a bull rush, a two-handed bull rush. He shoots them arms and he tries to get into the pads of the offensive linemen and drive them back. You will see in a couple of these highlights, he actually put a couple of O-linemen on their asses by using this exact technique. Now, the thing that I don't like about him is he does seem rather one-dimensional just by taking a look at these highlights, and this is mainly the reason why I'm not looking forward to him being much more than a rotational piece, right? Once an offensive lineman figure out all he has to do is anchor down and withstand that bull rush, or get him to over pursue his angles, because sometimes he will do that. He will allow his rush to take him past the pocket and take him out of plays at times, but once an O-lineman kind of figures him out, he will be kind of limited in his impact and what he's able to do, in my opinion. Now, the good thing about this kid is he's only 24 years old, so he obviously has some room to grow. I would never say that a 24-year-old is a finished product. And according to Marcus Mosher, PFF had him graded as the number 2 ranked edge in the UFL this last season. All right, so essentially the Cowboys working out the second best pass rusher in the UFL. You can see some of his measurables from the combine, and as far as his analysis overview done by Lance Zierlein, he's a trait-based edge defender capable of playing 4-3 end or a 3-4 rush linebacker. Garvin's strong 2018 was followed up by inconsistent effort and an inability to stamp his presence on games with much consistency. He gains depth upfield quickly and is fairly natural at defeating the punch and flipping the corner. Pressures are nice, but sack makers get paid, and that won't happen unless he cranks up the effort and plays to his traits and potential. Garvin has day 2 talent, but may not go until day 3. However, there might be gold to mine if a coach can get it out of him. All right, so at this point, this is one of those project players that we're counting on Mike Zimmer to coach up. He has the traits. He's 6'4". He's a really big guy, 6'4", 260. So he's a huge guy, and he's pretty athletic. And obviously, he's a Florida boy. The Florida boys are fast, so he's pretty athletic, running a 4.82 for that size, which is pretty decent. And again, going back to his draft profile, his strengths include first 3 upfield steps, gain space and race to the turn, rushes with good forward lean, works to half-man attack consistently, intriguing instincts and hand usage to grease the edge and access the pocket, closing bursts to walk down scrambling quarterbacks, looks lean but can pop and stop a pulling guard, uses length to separate and find tackle opportunities, clicks physicality switch when he needs to, long strides are rangy in pursuit, has grown into long frame but still has room for more. And his weaknesses include a smooth frame, lacks definition in weight room receipts, urgency and consistent explosiveness are missing from his rush, not enough secondary effort. So really, it seems like his biggest issues was effort, right? And here's the thing, guys. He gets into training camp and he's not giving that consistent 100% effort every single rep. I can guarantee you, bro, he won't get far in this Mike Zimmer defense. So we won't have to worry about the Cowboys fielding anybody that has those type of issues. So if that is still an issue for Jonathan Garvin, then I don't expect to see him much at all on the defensive side of the ball. And he'll probably be primarily a special teams type of guy, right? But either way, yeah, if you take a look at his highlights, you could definitely see a lot of what they spoke about come through here. Like I said, his one pass rush move seems to be the bull rush. That seems to be what he's most comfortable with, is just trying to run through someone and overpower them, or he'll just try to get around them. But he will more than likely just be a situational pass rusher. But the other move that the Dallas Cowboys made happened to be a first-round corner that they're bringing in by way of Gareon Conley. This guy was a first-round draft pick by the Oakland Raiders a few years back, and he did play a few years in the NFL, and for the most part, he actually has some pretty decent tape to take a look at. If you really wanted to see who Gareon Conley is, what he's going to be bringing to the team, and all of that other stuff, you can go back and find enough tape of this guy before even getting into the UFL, right? He has Raiders tape, he has Texans tape, he has a lot of tape out there that you can actually take a look at, and he has his ups and downs. He's one of those guys. Absolutely, obviously, he has the traits, he has the abilities. If you look at his draft profile, he was projected to become a good starter within 2 years. He ran a 4.44 40, and his NFL comparison was a guy like Aqib Talib. And again, he's another dude that's still rather young. He's 28 years old, which means he more than likely still has at least 3 or 4 years of good football left in his body. And overall, this is a guy that has the potential to really make an impact on the defense. Now, Jonathan Garvin was someone that I felt like was going to be more rotational, backup, depth, special teams. Gareon Conley, more than likely, he'll probably get a lot of special teams run. But I can easily see this dude coming and actually playing a big role in our defensive back room, because if you look at the Cowboys defensive backs right now, you have a lot of inexperience after you get past those top 3 with Trevon Diggs, Deron Bland, and Jordan Lewis. After those 3 guys, you have a lot of inexperience back there, and bringing in a guy like a Gareon Conley, he has decent size for a corner. Obviously, he has a good speed, good ball skills. Actually, if you take a look at some of his film, he has good ball skills. He mainly plays his best in press man coverage, which is something I really wish the Cowboys would have used a lot more of last season, because there's way too many times where they were lining up 10 yards off the ball and dudes were able to just to nickel and dime them all the way down the field. So it's really interesting that they're bringing in essentially a press man coverage corner. That was probably his strongest coverage style that he played. He did get a little bit better as far as being able to drop and play different zones. There's specific tape out there in which he was able to cover multiple routes, playing in a cover 2 coverage, and he did it damn well and was actually able to make some good tackles. But there's also a lot of film out there of him getting absolutely burnt by people, leaving dudes wide open, getting lost in coverage. But as far as his one-on-one plays that you're looking at him, it's really 50-50, guys. I've seen some situations where he badly missed some tackles, and I've seen some situations where he got in there and made some good tackles for a corner. I think that this is a good project player. The fact that he's 28, he's more experienced, he has his man body, he's been playing a lot of football, and coming in somewhere with Mike Zimmer, a guy that's known to love his defensive backs and will invest a lot more in time into his DBs than anything else. Coming in with Mike Zimmer, I think that this is a really, really good spot for a guy like a Gareon Conley, and he's been working his way back, trying to get back into the league, and he has a lot of dog in him. This is one of those dudes, has a lot of dog, plays with tenacity, doesn't give up on plays. Even when he's beat, he will still make an effort to make a play on the ball, which is all you really want, because a corner, he's going to get beat. You're not going to see a corner that doesn't get beat, guys. As far as his analysis, he's a good press corner. Yep, there it is. With experience at both cornerback spots and an ability to fit into a variety of coverage techniques. He plays with good top end speed and has the ball skills to challenge and defend passes on any level. A lot of what I just said, promise I didn't read this just now. I kind of got my own analysis off of watching the film that you guys are kind of watching over top of me talking about this, right? But this essentially goes along with what I said. His weaknesses can be a little tight-hipped in his transitions. Pattern match was just average when facing off against more advanced route trees. Michigan receivers, that's what I was talking about getting lost on some of his routes. Michigan receivers created separation and some panic in Conley with their inside releases and crossing routes. Got caught reaching and holding in an attempt to recover, will occasionally default to face guarding rather than turning to find the ball, can be slow to digest route combinations and lose track of his man. Doesn't look as comfortable or confident in off man, plays small in run support, and needs to work on consistency as a tackler. I'm telling y'all, I promise y'all I did not read his draft profile. I just pulled this up and got it ready to go for this particular segment. But that's a lot of what I seen with Gareon Conley when I was going and looking through his film and looking at those clips that I'm showing you guys. A lot of what I seen with him, but again, this is one of those moves that in Mike Zimmer we trust. I think that Mike Zimmer is going to be able to get the best out of a guy like a Gareon Conley. Jonathan Garvin, not too sure about that, but something important to note is Gareon Conley does have a existing relationship with one of our new coaches on the Cowboys, Paul Guenther. So there may be a reason why we saw him get brought in. And if Paul Guenther is willing to put his name on this type of guy, y'all got to think this is just like any other job. When you're trying to get someone hired on, you put in your name, you attach your name to that. If Paul Guenther is willing to attach his name to a guy with his new employers, then I have to think that he has the right traits for what we're looking for as a team as far as the mentality goes as a football player, IQ and all that kind of stuff. And I think that he's a teachable guy. So do I like these moves? Yes, I like these moves. The main reason I like these moves is because the NFL is starting to utilize the UFL as like a developmental league essentially. And this to me is almost like a step above college football because you have guys that wanted to play football as their professional career. In college football, you're still playing against plumbers, engineers, mathematicians, doctors, all this stuff. You're still playing against guys that aren't necessarily going to be playing football for their entire life. But the UFL is slowly but surely becoming a pipeline for the NFL. I think the Cowboys are one of the forefront runners of bringing this idea to the league. The Cowboys, obviously, they appear twice even on this list, bringing in Gareon Conley and Willie Harvey Jr. And we could possibly add a Jonathan Garvin to that list. So they're one of the more active teams as it pertains to scouting guys from the UFL. And the best thing about this is these are essentially guys that are going to be playing at a tick above college level because obviously they're more developed. They're playing against other guys that are more developed and just honestly probably didn't get second contracts in NFL or trying to get back into the NFL, whatever it may be. They're playing against guys who decide to play professionally. So this is still, to me, in my opinion, I would look at one of these leagues as like a slight step above college because in college, you're probably playing a full team of other guys that are NFL quality, maybe once or twice a season, depending on what conference you're in. Here, you're playing against a bunch of grown men that have families to feed and are trying to get to that next level and are utilizing any resource possible to get there, right? So I like this. To me, this is the NFL version of NBA G League, and I'm all about this. 8 players have already been signed so far this offseason from the UFL. So stop thinking that this is a Jerry and Stephen Jones special. This is honestly just an evolution of the NFL. And these teams finding another resource to draw good players from. So I have no issue with trying to get UFL players. And as a Cowboy fan, you better get used to this, bro, because this is probably going to be the Dallas Cowboys free agency period moving forward. But either way, we stink. Same old Cowboys. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still the ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.